So my name is Kate, and we have Carlotta Cecile here today from the New York State Department of Civil Service. We're trying to get started with their video. So while we wait, I was hoping that we could brainstorm some questions that we have about civil service, working in civil service. So could anyone write a question in the chat that they have, or just say it and I'll write it down? What questions do you have about? Okay. What questions do you have about civil service, working in civil service? You can unmute yourself. What questions do you have? I'll start. Can I get rich working in civil service? What other questions do we have? Zanar, do you have a question about working in civil service? Esther. Hi, how are you?
Do we need our GED?
Okay, do we need our GED? Do we need a high school
The equivalency.
diploma to work in civil service? That's a great question. Okay. What else? What are some other questions while we wait for, hi Angelina, all my old friends, some of my old friends. Friends, hi. So so that's a really good question. Do you need a high school diploma to work in civil service? What other questions?
Is it a time-full job or just part-time?
Okay, so are there full-time jobs or just part-time? Great.
Thank you.
What other questions do you have?
How's the benefits?
Okay. What are the benefits?
Pregunta.
Viviana, go ahead.
Pero ¿cómo es?
Okay. All right. So we've got some questions. Do you need a diploma? What are the benefits? Are there full-time jobs or just part-time? And what kinds of jobs? That's a really good question. Thanks, Anar. So we are going to watch a video that Ms. Cecile brought for us to watch. Ms. Cecile, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes. Hi, guys. How are you? So I'm with the New York State Department of Civil Service. I've been with the New York State Department of Civil Service for about 16 years. What I do is I recruit for state jobs. The goal is to share the knowledge on the civil service process and the type of jobs that we actually offer. So my colleague, he's going to play a video. It's about 9 minutes in length, and this should explain basically everything. So if you guys have any questions once the video is finished, then we can speak on those different questions. But I see here in the chat that there's several questions about full-time and like part-time jobs and so on. The video will basically explain everything. So my colleague will start the video.
Thank you.
My name is Jessica, and I'm here with my colleague, Ben. We work for the New York State Department of Civil Service, the central human resources agency for New York State.
At the Department of Civil Service, we work with other state agencies to make sure they have the right people for the right jobs at the right time. Today, we're talking about working for the state, how to become a state employee, and the benefits and opportunities you can expect once you're hired. Working for New York State is a great way to get involved in public service and make a difference in the lives of others.
New York State hires people who are afforded almost limitless opportunities that touch every part of public life. The state employs people of all ages, backgrounds, and education levels. First responders, engineers, nurses, research scientists, plow drivers, and more.
Even though there are dozens of state agencies, New York State is considered one employer. So once you're working for the state, you can transfer to other positions and agencies, and you have opportunities for promotion. Even though Albany is the home of our state government, more than 70% of positions are located outside of the Albany area. Most of them are in New York City, Buffalo, Syracuse, and Binghamton. So you aren't confined to one area if you want an opportunity elsewhere. New York State jobs are also great if you're looking for a work-life balance. Schedules are flexible, the benefits are unmatched, and other incentives help provide a great quality of life in and out of the office.
And state jobs pay better than you think. Salaries are competitive with the private sector.
There are state jobs for every interest and skill, from art history to zoology.
For example, New York State has opportunities for you as direct support assistants. There are also a wide variety of clerical and security positions. Don't worry, if you've never pictured yourself in such jobs, we even provide the training you need. New York State also has opportunities for those with professional certification or licensing, including engineers, nurses, and teachers.
We believe the best workforce is a diverse workforce, reflective of the many unique faces, voices, backgrounds, and ideas of New Yorkers we serve. We are always actively seeking qualified individuals interested in public service careers. Looking for a job with the state is a little different than looking for a job with the private sector. About 80% of state jobs are filled by people who have taken civil service exams.
The exam process is made up of just 3 main steps: finding the exam announcement, applying and qualifying for the exam, and taking the test. All exam announcements can be found online on the Department of Civil Service website, www.cs.ny.gov. You can also sign up on our website to receive email notifications when new exams are announced. You'll notice that all exam announcements have the same format, and it has all of the information you will need to apply. You'll see the exam title and salary, the exam date, application deadline, qualifications, type of exam, and title information.
Part of the exam process is reading the announcement completely, thoroughly filling out your application to show that you meet the minimum qualification for the exam, and submitting your application before the deadline. An incomplete application can mean a missed job opportunity. After you've successfully registered, you'll receive your admission notice the week before the exam with information about the location and time of the test.
Exams are held based on recruitment needs. Most examinations are held periodically, and some are held on a continuous recruitment basis. This means that applications are accepted on an ongoing basis, and passing candidates are added to the list continuously.
You should also know that there are different types of exams that the state offers.
Written exams are what most people think of as a state exam. These multiple choice exams are held at various locations throughout the state. An evaluation of training and experience is a detailed questionnaire with your education and work experience that is used to issue your exam score. A performance exam, on the other hand, is used to demonstrate that a candidate can reach a specific performance level, like a typing test. And an oral exam, the exam requires the candidate to show their ability to think on their feet, make sound judgments, and present ideas clearly and effectively. Even if you're someone who gets nervous about tests, don't sweat it. We make it easier than ever to understand how you can prepare for your exam.
On the exam announcement, there is a section called Subject of Examination. This section will inform you of the exam type and a description of the subject areas to be tested. If there are test guides available, it will be noted on the announcement as well. As soon as they're done, most candidates want to know when they'll receive their exam score.
Generally, it takes approximately 3 months after you take the exam. A passing score is 70. Candidates who pass an exam are placed on a list that agencies use when filling jobs.
The hiring agency will then send a canvas letter to those who have passed to see which candidates are interested in a particular position. It's not yet a job offer. After canvassing those on the list, agencies will proceed with interviewing and hiring the best candidate for the job.
After an interview with the agency, you may receive a job offer, and then an appointment letter with the details of your appointment. If you have any questions, you can call the agency's Human Resource Office.
We also have some featured programs and exams for people with different backgrounds and qualifications. The Professional Career Opportunities Program, also known as the PCO, is one exam that fills over 100 entry-level professional titles. If you have or will have a bachelor's degree, the PCO is one of the best ways to be considered for employment with the New York State government.
The governor's program to hire individuals and veterans with disabilities consists of 2 specialized programs that place individuals with disabilities in state jobs without taking a written exam. A formal application and medical evaluation may be required for certification. The Veterans Temporary Hiring Program provides a centralized location for qualifying veterans to submit employment information, employment preferences, and upload a resume. The state uses qualified post-9/11 veterans to fill temporary vacancies in areas like customer service, parks and recreation, and disaster response.
And for college students interested in learning firsthand the value of a career in public service, the new New York Leaders Student Intern Program provides students with access to hundreds of state government internships each year. Internships are available across the state and throughout the school year. For help in your career search, visit the Department of Civil Service website at www.cs.ny.gov for information on state examinations and to sign up for email notifications.
Another helpful link is the State Jobs NY website, www.statejobsny.com, a great resource to find New York State vacancy postings. Once you've taken an exam and are on an eligible list, check here for available job postings based on titles you've tested for. If you have any questions on how to obtain a state job, we're happy to help. Please don't hesitate to contact us. You can even follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook so you can be the first to know about exciting news and upcoming exams.
When you work for New York State, you're not just making a living, you're making a difference. Whether it's protecting a vulnerable child, researching cures for diseases, or making our bridges safer, the work you'll do matters to your family, your neighbors, and countless New Yorkers each and every day. No matter what your position, you have the opportunity to make a difference and be a part of meaningful work.
We wish you the best of luck in your job search and hope you'll be joining the New York State workforce.
Hi, Kate.
Hi.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
So that was a lot of information. Sort of went by pretty fast. I'm going to type some notes into the chat and people can think about their questions. Maybe Carlotta, you could just talk a little bit about the steps involved because it went by pretty fast. I think people would really appreciate if you could just go through the steps a little more slowly.
Okay, the first step is to visit our civil service website at www.cs.ny.gov. The next step would be to register to be on our mailing list. That way you would know of all of the upcoming civil service tests.
Okay.
We have 2 different types of exams. One are the examinations that we give on a year-round basis. Those you can find on our website at all times. I mean, sometimes they're suspended, but that's very rare. But those are usually on our website, and you can apply for those at almost any time. They hire on a rolling basis. The next type of exam, in which you will receive it through your actual email once you register on our mailing list, those exams are only given one time every 2 to 4 years. So say, for example, if you see an examination that is out this year, you will not see it again. It could be for another 2 more years from now or another 4 more years. So if that's the case, if you qualify to take the exam, you definitely want to take it now. One of the most important things is when you're applying for a civil service exam is that you read the announcement. The announcement will state everything you need to know as far as the job, the location, the salary, what will be on the exam, how to apply. Some examinations you can only apply online. So it will give you every single detail that you need. And one of the most important things is that you have to qualify in order to apply. So if it says you have to have a 4-year college degree at the time that you apply, then that's what you have to have. Unless there's a substitution stated that will give you either a couple of months or even a year to obtain that. That is key. You must qualify. Some of the examinations, the ones that usually come out once every 2 to 4 years, those also carry filing fees. So if you're not exempt from the fee, which the fee can range between $20 and $45, if you have to pay and you apply for an exam that you are not qualified, it does state on the announcement that the money is non-refundable. We do not refund money. There are fee waivers in certain circumstances. For example, persons that are not working, veterans, persons that are collecting food stamps, Medicaid, and things of that nature. Then they'll waive the fee. Otherwise, you have to pay. And that's why, again, it's important that you read everything thoroughly and that you actually qualify. Some of the job titles do provide training, like it's called a trainee level. So trainee levels can last either between 1 year or 2 years. So it would state that as well. Most of the positions are located, I would say 50-50 between upstate and downstate. So again, it's very important that when you're reading the announcement that you read where it's located. Sometimes the jobs are only upstate. Sometimes the jobs are only in the city. Sometimes the jobs may only be like in Long Island. So it's very important that you read where it's located. For those that are in school, we do offer our student internships. Our student internship program is on a year-round basis, which means fall semester, spring, and summer. Some of our student internships are paid, some are unpaid. It was specified that as well. Just like when you're applying for the jobs, it would tell you what you need to apply for the student internships. For example, certain student internships only want sophomores and higher. They would specify if they want sophomores, juniors, seniors. Some of our student internships are those that are doing their master's degrees in law school, et cetera. It would state that as well. And it's very important that when you're applying for the student internship that you look at the location, because on our website, how it works is the student internships is a portal in which the agencies themselves have the ability to post the student internships on our website. So these internships could be in Buffalo, they could be in Albany, they could be in New York City, they could be in Long Island, they could be all over the entire state of New York. So it's very important that you read exactly where it's located before you even apply. Then we have the 55B and C program, persons with disabilities. 55B is for regular persons. 55C is for the veterans. If you want to apply for this program, you can apply again on our website. It will contain a application that must be downloaded and filled out by yourself and your doctor. The application is mailed upstate New York, Albany. They will send you a letter, let you know whether or not you're certified or not. And your certification with us lasts for 3 years. That means that you will be waived from taking the civil service examinations, but you will still have to apply for the jobs. And again, you will have to qualify. The key word is always qualify. As far as positions that we have jobs ranging from cleaners to doctors, psychologists, lawyers, everything in the middle. Whether it's a clerk, a secretary, IT, finance, accounting, nursing, you name it, we have it. The only thing we really don't have that I've never seen before will be probably something like theater, although we have stuff that may be related, but I've never seen a job as far as like theater. But everything else we have as far as like media, things of that sort. And everything is basically found on our civil service website at www.cs.ny.gov.
Okay, thanks for that. So I want to ask a few other follow-up questions that were asked by students before you arrived. So one of the questions was, do you need a high school diploma for all of the jobs that are offered through civil service?
Good question. There used to be a time where there were a couple that did not need a high school diploma. I would say now it's almost very rare. Maybe 1 or 2 out of the bunch. I haven't seen any of those in a while. They had to make a couple of changes. The positions working for the Office for the Mental Health used to have not required it, but now with a lot of things that we had, a lot of situations, they made changes. The only position that may not require it may be a cleaner at this time.
Thank you. Can you talk a little bit, Carlotta, about the benefits? Because that was another question that people had.
Okay, the benefits, they range from paid sick leave, paid vacation days. I would say now we're up to maybe 13 paid holidays, I believe. We just got a new holiday, Juneteenth, so maybe 13 paid holidays at this time. 2 of them are floaters, which means that you get a day to use at a later time. We offer great health insurance that includes both medical, dental, and vision. Life insurance, you're insured while you're working for the state up to a certain amount. I believe, well, I can't speak for the new tier, but roughly about 3 times the amount of your salary to the highest thousands. God forbid you drop dead while you're working, your family will get it. You get a pension. Again, I really can't speak upon the new plan. It has changed from the time I started. I'm not sure the amount of years you must put in. I think they're up to tier 6, maybe tier 7 now, but you will get a pension plan. I really can't give you the amount of years on that now. That will be on our website as well. In most cases, we get raises once a year. I've stressed again, in most cases. We have unions. We have tuition reimbursement. We have additional savings plans, New York State deferred compensation, similar to New York City's, I think it's called I forgot the city's plan. It's something similar where you can save money, it comes out of your check before you're taxed. It's like another savings that you can get at age 63, 65, something around that age.
Okay,
And I believe pretty much that's it as far as the benefits.
okay. Another question that people had is, are all the jobs full-time? Are they, mostly full-time, mostly part-time?
Mostly full-time, but we do have part-time and seasonals and, I'm sorry, they're mostly full-time, but we have part-time, seasonal, and temporary as well.
Okay. Okay, but most are full-time, okay, good. So, let's say I came to you and said, oh, can you give me the inside story? What do I need to know to succeed in the civil service system? What would you say to me?
Okay, I always tell everyone, never take one exam and wait. Getting a civil service job, getting a state job, and even getting a city job can take years. I mean, years. It can be 1 year if you're lucky. It can even be a few months if you're really, really lucky. But in most cases, it could take 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 years. So I always tell people to take as many exams as you can take that you qualify for, have your name on multiple lists, live life, find another job. But if you get the call for the state job and it sounds great, then take it. The goal is to get in. You can always move up. You can move around and so on, but the goal is to get in. Getting a state or city job at this point in time is like hitting like a lottery number. It's very hard. It's extremely competitive, especially now with the COVID. A lot of people are running to state and city jobs because we were some of the secure jobs. Like we still have our jobs now, where a lot of people don't. So again, people are running to state and city jobs and they are extremely competitive. Another key is you must do well on the exams. Although the score to pass is 70, on a major exam, such as a DMV exam, you may have 30,000 people that take the exam. You may have 5,000 people who scored like 100. So with that being said, the chances of them reaching a 70 on the list is almost slim to none. The only time you can score a little lower and you still may have an opportunity is when it's a law enforcement test, because there's other factors involved, just not only your score, but you have like the physical, the medical, psychological, felony background checks, things of that sort that may like eliminate some on the list. But on a regular exam, just to be a clerk, something of that sort, 70 would never actually make it. You have to do well. You must do well. And usually what happens is the more exams you take, you become a little bit better each time that you try. So those are my words. Take as many exams as you can, study for the test, and try to do as well as possible and live your life. Never wait.
And can I just ask, are there usually study guides for every test?
We provide some study guides. However, there is a civil service bookstore that sells books at a fee of about 30 bucks. But we do not make those books. They're produced by a third party. So I cannot say that they will help you pass the exam. It'll be up to the person if they want to buy the book and see what they have in the book, and hopefully that can actually help them. But when we have the announcement for the test, it does state what will be on the exam.
Eric, are there any other questions there in the Google Doc that you're working on?
Let's see here. I don't know if we ran across something with the city civil service jobs. The terminology was competitive versus non-competitive. I don't know if that's something that's used with state.
Yes,
Jobs.
it is.
What does that mean?
The competitive means filled by exam, which is the state of New York, about 80 to 90% of the jobs are filled through the exam, which makes them the competitive. The non-competitive are about 10% of state jobs that do not require a test. A lot of those could be the appointed positions. You know, when we get a new chief, they're usually bringing a lot of staff. Those could be at-will jobs that when they change administration, those jobs are no longer. And then there's other jobs that just are not fillable by a civil service test. Those are considered non-competitive, but you still have to qualify. They are secure jobs. The only catch is that you would not be able to take any promotional exams because it's not a civil service title.
So but if you do see the term competitive, that means there's an exam that needs to be taken, right?
Yes, and there are at least 1,000 different exams in different fields and so on.
Carlotta, do you happen to know any people who had a diploma and got into the system? with a
Oh,
high
yeah.
school diploma? Mhm.
Of course, yeah. Like most of the titles, like we have a section on our website that says minimum. Is minimum qualification titles. For example, working for the Office for the Mental Health, the New York State Correction Officer is only needed is a high school diploma. The jobs working for DMV only needs a high school diploma. The clerks, things filing, those that do like data entry. A couple of those titles, like usually anything from a grade 6 to maybe a grade 11 only requires a high school diploma.
Okay. All right, that's good to know. Thank you.
There was a question, a couple questions are sort of related. One is, if someone has a high school diploma from another country, is that okay?
No, we do not. Okay, we do not accept a foreign degree of no sort, but you are able to go to a service and you have to pay and they can evaluate it and they will let you know if it's valid here in the United States. But of course, that fee will be on, you know, it will be on that person actually to pay for the fee. I believe the fees can range between about $200 to $500. It all depends on what you need done. I know that a lot of people I know, they have to do their bachelor's degrees. It's cheaper just for them to say that it's equal to the US equivalent versus a course by course breakdown. But sometimes a course by course breakdown is needed if you're applying for an exam that requires you to have a certain amount of course credits.
Okay.
Then in that case, you would have to have it done. And we only use acceptable companies, which you can find on our website, such as Globe Language Services is the most popular one.
Thank you, that's very helpful. Another question was, about eligibility in terms of, I guess, green card or citizenship. Someone who has a taxpayer identification number but is not a citizen. What are the requirements?
Most of the positions, you must be a green card holder, with the exception of anything dealing with law enforcement, in which you must be a citizen at the time that you're hired. Now, for example, it depends on the circumstance. You know, if the person has a green card through marriage or, you know, on their own, with like the time frame being between 3 and 5 years. But as far as like, because sometimes the examination announcement would say that you have to have your citizenship at the time that you're hired. But it depends on where you are as far as getting your citizenship, whether or not you should apply or not. Because sometimes they can call you a little sooner. And if you don't have it done at that time, then you cannot, they won't actually hire you. So it depends on the circumstances, but 90% of the jobs only require a green card.
That's very
Thank you.
helpful.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I just saw the chat. You have to have a green card. As far as not having a citizenship, if you don't have a citizenship at the time that they call you, then you can't actually get hired. Mhm.
Kelsong wrote a question in the chat. Kelsong, do you want to just go ahead and unmute? This isn't a very big group. Do you want to unmute and ask your question verbally?
Okay. May I know how many hours do we need to work for full-time and part-time? What are the probation days?
Okay, full-time hours vary between 37 and a half to 40 hours per week. It depends on your salary grade title. Probation can last up until a year. And if you don't, and if sometimes they can extend it for like another year. So sometimes you could be on probation for like a year and a half. It varies. I know for the trainee level titles, because those are a 2-year traineeship level in which you're training in the title for 2 years, and you will be on probation for the full entire 2 years, unless you fast track. Some people fast track through in like a year and a half.
Can you say a little more about what probation is? Because I'm not sure everybody knows.
Probation is usually, it's for the first couple of months that you're hired, is where they like evaluate you, basically see if you're fit for the job. Some probations can last for 6 months, 12 months, up to a year and a half, sometimes up to 2 years. The employer has the right to extend it. And you have to pass probation in order to stay on the job. If the employer feels that you're not fit, then he or she can actually let you go in that time frame.
What sorts of things would make a person be let go?
Lateness.
Lateness.
Lateness with New York State is stealing money. So as they say, is it called stealing time and stealing money? So you never want to, and then latenesses and also being absent. You definitely don't want to be absent during your probation, unless it's an extraneous circumstance, like a sickness or a death, things of that sort. Yeah, it's then also, even if you are a full-time worker and you consistently take off time and patterns of time. For example, there are people that always take off, like as far as taking off, I mean, as far as calling out sick, We have some employees that call out sick on Fridays, always on a Friday, always on a Monday, always the day before a holiday, the day after a holiday. They keep track of that. And if they suspect that you're abusing, what they may do is ask you to bring in a doctor's note. Like usually your doctor's note is not required until after your third day. But if you're a person that's always out sick on a Friday and a Monday, they may ask you to bring a note for even that one day.
Okay, that's helpful. Once you pass probation, can you would have a lot of job security?
Yes, you will. And then you'll be able to move up. You could take another examination and you can move to a higher level. You have to be entitled for at least a year before you could take another exam.
Okay. And do a lot of people move up?
Yes and no. Some people really don't. Some people don't really choose to actually move up. They become extremely comfortable. Others are not able to pass the examination at a high enough score to actually move up. So it depends. Some people, they do well and they are able to move up. Others, like I say, some people really don't. Some people don't actually move up. You know, that's by choice. And others, they can't do well enough on the exam.
Okay, Christine said, what is the passing grade?
Passing grade for the exam is a 70. However, I would never suggest that somebody tries to get a 70. The goal is to get as high as you can. The higher the score, the better are your chances.
Can I just ask you, what do you mean when you say people get comfortable? I mean, they don't want to progress?
Yes, a lot of people get extremely comfortable. Yes. Yes. I used to work for New York City. So I started out working for New York City when I was 17 years old. And I came to the state in my mid-20s. When I was working for New York City, there were persons that were in my title for 40 years, 35 years, doing the same job for 35 years. The only raises they got was through the union, you know, a little $1,000 a year, $2,000 a year, and that was their life for 35 years.
Wow.
It's not so bad. Don't judge, Christine. Some people just like to be comfortable.
Yeah, a lot of people, they have fear. It could be fear, you know. A lot of people, they just get extremely comfortable.
So it must not be such a bad job if you can get comfortable in it. Who else has questions for Carlotta while you have her here?
I was a bit late to the class, to this workshop. So can you just remind me again, like when does the classes begin?
I mean, the exams?
Yeah.
Okay, we have examinations ongoing on our website, which you can find. The open competitive exams, they just resumed. We suspended the examinations that are held in person for about 1.5 years with the COVID. They just resumed some exams about 2 months ago. However, the testing is in the upstate region. They have not started testing downstate yet. Usually the examinations are held in high schools in Brooklyn, Manhattan, the Bronx, and so on, but they haven't resumed those exams yet here in New York City, in person yet.
Oh.
So the examination that they are offering in person are in the upstate region. But
So,
basically, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
But basically, you can find all of our examinations on our civil service website, and they are in subsections. For example, it's a minimum section. There's an advanced degree section, which means a 4-year degree or higher. Then there's another section that requires jobs with licensing, like teachers, nurses, attorneys, things of that sort.
So I'm wondering, Ms. Cecile, if either you would share your screen and navigate us through the website a little bit, or Eric could do it and you could talk him through it, whatever.
Okay, I guess I probably will have, it'd be best if he does it. My computer is not the greatest.
Okay. Yeah, so Eric will
Eric?
show us the website and you can give us a tour.
Okay, so you want to go to job seekers? No, you're gonna, yes, job seekers. And you want to click it. State examinations. Click it, yes. Okay. If you want to scroll down a little bit to the middle, we have some videos here as well. Scroll down to the middle, keep going, keep going. Okay, stop. 3 blue tabs, the examinations open to the public. You can start there. These are the open competitive exams. So here you see we have 3, or we have 2 at this time. The one for the correction officer trainee is not an in-person exam. It's an examination in which you complete an online form in which they will evaluate you on your background and training skills. As you can see, they list the starting salary, $55,000. The last day to apply is October 20th, and the filing fee is $35. Those persons that are not working, the filing fees are waived. If you're collecting like food stamps, Medicaid, things of that sort, the fee is waived. So you can click on it, please. Yep, for correction officer trainee. The first link you want to click is view minimum qualifications. So as I stated before, you must be qualified. You can click on it. You can leave, yeah, go on to the page. So here it tells you the evaluation period was from August 20th to October 20th. You must apply by October 20th. As you can see, it tells you what the salary is. So the hiring rate is $45,712. 6 months is $48,081. And after the first year is $55,057. Those persons working in, also it's very important to know, if you work in the downstate region of New York State, you receive additional $3,577 in your yearly salary. That just went up actually. So I didn't even know this until now. It used to be 3,026. Now it's 3,577. Those persons that work in Dutchess and Putnam and Orange get additional $1,332 on top of the salary. So you can scroll down just a little bit for me, Eric. Okay, minimum qualifications. At the time of appointment, appointment means the date that you are hired. But keep in mind, this list may move within, so let me try to explain. Once the closing date happens on October 20th, about 90 days thereafter, they will have a list, the eligible list, with all the names and scores. So for example, if you scored 100, the chances that you'll get called quickly is highly likely. So say if you are 19 now, they may call you when you're 19 and a half. So therefore you wouldn't be qualified, okay? I always suggest that if it says that you have to be 21, maybe if you're 20 in a couple of months, then definitely you should take the test, but not several years away. You know, like if you're 19 or, you know, this is, you know, I wouldn't suggest that. Okay, at the time of appointment, you must have a high school diploma. So if you're currently working on getting your high school diploma now, then you can definitely apply. Okay. At the time that you're hired, you must be a New York State resident. So you must live in the state of New York. Okay. You can scroll down a little bit for me, Eric. So on top of the written test, you must also do a physical test, medical check, drug testing, and psychological examination. Okay. For the New York State correction officers, because they're working in the New York State prisons, most 98% of the facilities are in the upstate region going towards the Canadian border. There may be only 1 or 2 facilities that may be close to New York City, which include Bedford for the women and Sing Sing, which is in Westchester County. And maybe 1 other, which I think was in the city, but now is closed down. But as far as that, this is something that you will have to relocate for. If you choose to get this job, you will have to move to the upstate region. So when you go in, you're going in as a trainee level, which means that you'll be learning the job. You'll be working with a senior staff member. You'll be going through a series of trainings. And then after your first year, then you will be called a New York State Correction Officer. But while you're in your first year, you'll be called a trainee. They will do an extensive background check. Any felony is a no-no. No felonies whatsoever. It will bar you. It will bar you from being hired. Not may not, but it will. Any felony. They're going to do a character and fitness test as well. And if you want to scroll down a little bit to the probation, it says it may be up to 52 weeks for the probation. I wanted to see, for this one, you also have to be a citizen as well, but at the time that you're hired. So you would have to be close to receiving your citizenship at this point to even apply for something like this. Meaning have already submitted it and it's waiting for them to send you for your appointment.
And so I see, Carlotta, that you have to have a personal ny.gov account.
Yes, so you would have to create an online account to apply for these on our website. So you can apply, you can sign up for the account by going through the main site where it says how to apply. If you go back a page, Eric, to the other page that we started at with this exam, yep, you can go to apply for this exam. And then there you'll be able to create your account. Yep. Create an account. Yep, you'll be doing for personal account.
That was really, really helpful. And is there a way to explore this website just to see the types of jobs? that are available through civil
Yes,
service?
we go to the continuous recruitment box.
Okay.
Yes. These are the ongoing exams. They're in subsections.
Oh,
Minimum education, those are the titles that you can apply for.
okay, so a direct support assistant trainee is
Working-
helping.
Working for the Office for the Mental Health.
Okay,
Almost similar to a home health aide.
okay. That's very helpful.
Those are similar titles as well. The three titles are very similar. Mental health therapy aide, the dev aide, and the direct support. Very, very similar titles.
What about the plant utilities assistant? Is that what is
Persons
that?
that's licensed with the HVAC.
I see, okay. I see. All right, that was really helpful. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Cecile? It's a lot of information.
Yeah.
So I felt like there was some really important points you made that, you know, this is something where you're really planning far into the future because it takes many years to actually get the job.
Yes.
That it's very, very important to read all of the description there and the application very, very carefully. And that these jobs are very secure and have good benefits once you finally complete the process, that some people can move up, but that you really can't be absent or late, especially when you're on probation.
Yes.
Are there any other main points that I'm missing?
No, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Just take as many exams as you can take. Have your name on several lists.
Okay.
Never just wait for one exam.
How do some of the students here feel about navigating the website? Do you feel like, okay, I feel confident I could do it, or do you feel like I would really still need some help? I'm not sure about.
I feel confident that I can maneuver the website.
Yep. I feel comfortable as well.
Yeah, I feel like I could do it.
I can do it as well. Thank you.
That's very helpful.
Okay, any questions for Mrs. Seal before we let her go? What we thought we would do after this, after you ask your questions, is we would also look at the city jobs website and sort of navigate that a little bit. But Mrs. Seal has to leave very soon, so she's got tons of experience in both systems. So if you have a question for her, now is a good time to ask that question.
If I heard correctly, Kate, did she say they only employ from age of 21?
No,
Okay.
it's the age of 18.
Oh, okay.
Law enforcement titles, you must be 21.
Okay. Okay. And at what age do they allow to retire?
The safe answer will be 62.
Okay.
It depends on the retirement plan that you're in. My plan is a little different than what your plan would be had, have you start now. My plan allows me to leave as early as 50.
Okay.
But it depends on your plan.
Okay, thank you so much.
No worries.
Anybody else before Mrs. Seal leaves?
Is there an age limit when applying or the position that you can get?
Only with law enforcement, and not all law enforcement. Some law enforcement have a 35 age year cutoff, but that only relates to those type of titles. So as far as all of the other jobs, no.
And I see someone has a question. TPS holder is not eligible to apply for a job.
No visas. No
Okay.
visas. We don't sponsor. The only time you let someone in on a student, if they're on a student visa, they could do our student internships.
Okay.
Some law enforcement is a maximum age of 35, yes. Minimum age of 21.
Oh, right. Maximum, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, minimum age of 21, maximum age of 35.
Okay.
The only time they allow the exemptions is persons that was in like the military.
What other city jobs are available besides correction facility and so on?
That's the open competitive exams that we have right now. But on the other site where you saw the ones for like the mental health therapy aid, those you can apply for now. The continuous.
And then what percentage of the jobs require you to have a college degree, and at what level?
I'm sorry? Say
Yeah,
the first
Wanda,
part.
we lost the first part
Yeah.
of what you said. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, I was saying, what percentage of your job require you to have a college degree, and at what level?
I would say out of 100%, about 80% to 85% requires some college degree, whether it's an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree or a master's degree.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else before we let Ms. Cecile go? Going once, going twice. Okay, well, Ms. Cecile, maybe if people have questions later and I shoot them to you through email, you might be willing to answer.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is let Ms. Cecile go, and those who wanna stay will take a look at the city website. So you can stick around if you wanna have a chance to navigate that with Eric, our master navigator. But I wanna thank Mr. Jara and Ms. Cecile for coming and really informing us about this with their insider knowledge. So thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank
Thank
you
you
as
for
well.
having us. See you next
Okay.
time, Kate.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
okay, bye-bye. So now we thought that we would take a look at the city website. So we're going to do that, and we're going to sort of see some of the differences between that one and the state. So Eric, are you going to share the screen?
I am, yeah. So actually, so what I'd like to show real quickly first, just as a reminder, many of you might already know this, but we have a Google Classroom for these career and college workshops.
Yes.
I put a link in the chat, and so if you're not already part of that Google Classroom, you might want to join. We make announcements for new workshops, and we share notes and recordings for these meetings afterwards, so that if you miss something, you can watch it later, and we post more information related to the topic. So this is the Google Classroom for the career college preparation workshops. If you go under classwork here for this particular workshop, a closer look at civil service jobs, we have a Q&A where Kate and I are taking notes on all the questions that were just asked. And this is a link to all those notes. So you can look up these questions after the fact. And we also have a worksheet here for doing your own research on civil service jobs. And like Kate said, we're going to look at New York City civil service jobs. And so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up nyc.gov/jobs. I'll put, whoops, excellent.
So what's the difference between civil service and New York City jobs?
Yeah. So
Oh,
Mrs. Seal was talking about state jobs, jobs where it's New York State that's your employer. Right?
Okay,
And what we're going to look at
okay.
now
New York
is
City
when
jobs.
New York City is your employer.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Thank you. Mhm.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this nyc.gov. So if you want any information about New York City government, nyc.gov is the place to go. We're going to go to nyc.gov/jobs. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to open up this Google document so that we can take some notes as we do research. And so this is a worksheet that's available to you through the Google Classroom. Let me arrange my screen real quickly so we can see both things at once. One moment here. Take some notes while we're see if this works.
So you have, okay, the question, you have the state jobs, city jobs, and the federal and government, those jobs fall up under the same category, or those all different?
There's similarities between the way that they are, with exams and stuff. But it's just that your employer is different.
Okay.
And obviously city jobs, you're going to be working in the city, right? Whereas New York State jobs might be in the city, but they could be anywhere in the state.
And what about federal and government? That's,
I don't know too much about that. We've only had presenters from city and state.
oh, okay, all right. Interesting, okay, thank you.
So hopefully you're seeing on the left side here, you're seeing the nyc.gov jobs website. Now, just to show you how I got here, it's nyc.gov/jobs. And that opens this page. And to see what positions are available, you can go to Explore Careers. So we're going to click on Explore Careers, and that's the same. These are the same instructions that are here in this worksheet that's in the Google Classroom. And then once you're in the careers section on nyc.gov, there are 3 different ways to look for opportunities. I think the main 2 that we'll look at for now. I mean, it's interesting because Carlotta mentioned internships at the state level as well. It looks like there are internships, I get mostly for college students, I would think, with New York City government. But you can also search for openings by interest or by agency. Now, interest is like the category, the type of job. So these are all career interests, right? So you can see health, building operations and maintenance, social services, legal affairs, right? These are the types of jobs. The other thing you can do is search by agency. And there are more city agencies than I ever knew. I had no idea. I mean, Department of Buildings, Department for the Aging. These are all city agencies that hire, right? So the Complaint Review Board, Boards of Correction, Fire Department, Health and Hospitals, Department of Homeless Services. All these agencies will be hiring for civil service jobs, Police Department, Probation. Okay, well, we're going to start with parks. Is that where we're going to start with?
Yeah, parks. Yeah.
So Parks and Recreation. So Kate and I, we did a little exploring to see what kinds of jobs are available. We want to show you a couple entry-level jobs, meaning jobs that don't require experience. So this is just an example, right? So I'm just kind of going around here and seeing what's interesting. Go to see what's available in Parks and Recreation. Click on that. Some of these will take a minute to load. Okay, so it came up. That wasn't bad. Okay, so now we're actually searching for the jobs that are available in Parks and Recreation. And if you look here, you see that they found 17 jobs. One thing I noticed, though, is that they have career levels. They also have job locations, so you could look at just the Manhattan jobs. There's 4 of them. There's 4 jobs in Queens. There's 7 jobs, I guess, that are all over the city, 2 in Staten Island. What I would wanted to look at was what are the entry level jobs specifically. There's 6 of them because the experienced jobs, I think for most people here, you might not be qualified for those yet. So let's start by looking at the entry level jobs. So I click on that and it's going to filter the list so that it'll only show the entry level jobs. So you can see how it says 6 jobs found now. So here's a gardener, climber and pruner, trees, parks enforcement patrol. I guess they patrol parks, urban park ranger. And then we were looking at this job, exterminator for city cleanup corps. So if any of these jobs you look, you see how they highlight and you want more information about them, you just click on them. So I clicked on the exterminator for city cleanup corps. Kate, do you mind leading us through this part here?
Right. Okay, you're going to take notes. Okay. Yeah. So, so I see that in the form that you have over here, it says business title. So I see the business title over here on the left, a little bit under the leaf. It says business title, exterminator for city cleanup corps. So that's the business title. And now underneath that, it says the civil service title, exterminator. Okay. So what do you think an exterminator does? What do they do?
Get rid of pests.
That's right, they get rid of pests. Okay, the title classification is competitive. So now we learned something today. We know that means you have to take a test. And then it says career level. Career level is entry level. Okay, and then it tells us the salary over here on the right, proposed salary range, $23.63 hourly. So now we want to know the job description. And so it says New York City Parks is the steward of over 30,000 acres of land, 14% of New York City, including more than 5,000 individual properties ranging from Coney Island Beach and Central Park to community gardens and green streets. Okay, that's a little bit of background, but I'm going to skip down and see what the major responsibilities are. So you're going to get rid, so it says you'll focus on rodent abatement. So getting rid of mice and rats, sounds like to me. And cleaning so that rats don't come back. And it says you're going to prevent, control, and eliminate insects and other pests from buildings and other areas. You're going to inspect places to make sure there's no pests. You're going to know about insecticides and rodenticides, baits and traps. So I guess you have to know the different baits and traps and chemicals to use against different kind of pests. It says you have to prepare weekly reports showing how much, what equipment you used, what your work schedule was. You might have to drive a motor vehicle. So that's the job description. The job qualifications, you have to have a valid certificate as a certified commercial pesticide applicator. Okay, so that's some type of certification you have to get. It says that for some assignments, you might have to have a license to drive. And it says for assignment 2 level, you have to have experience as an exterminator. So it sounds to me like these are if you get promoted. I'm not sure if this is a what level of assignment this is. Now it says preferred skills. So preferred skills, excellent communication and organizational skills. And you have to be able to work rotating shifts, nights and weekends. All right, so that's the basic information about that.
Does it require a college degree, high school degree? What do you all think?
I think they would say it if you had to have that.
Yeah, it's not here under minimum qualifying requirements.
Right.
Yeah, I would say no degree necessary.
So does anyone want a review of how Eric got to that page? Questions? So what I like about this process that you did, Eric, is that all of that stuff is a lot to read. And I think it is important to read it very carefully. But doing something like this makes it something that you can actually remember because you're putting it into your own words. So if you're actually interested in the job, I think it's a good idea to do something like this. because you'll get sort of a clearer picture of what it is you'll be doing and what the qualifications are. Does anyone have questions? Okay, so Christina Crosby said she liked the worksheet and how to use it. Okay, good. And somebody said they have to go.
Here you are. Thank you.
So we could do another one if people think that would be useful. Would it be useful to look at another job?
Yes, please.
So let's see. So just as a reminder, I'm going to start back at the beginning just so we know how to get there. nyc.gov/jobs. Could someone help me? Where do I go next?
Explore careers.
Mhm. Kate, should we go to the position we were thinking about, or should we go just somewhere else?
We could go to the one we were thinking about.
So that,
So,
mhm.
yeah, career interests. I think that's how we got there. Constituent services. So I think constituent means, like, the way I've heard that word is like, if you're a politician, the people who elected you are your constituents. So basically means citizens, people who vote and pay taxes. So it could be anything under here, it seems to me, anything where you're serving citizens.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed that if you look on the left side here under job categories, that many of these jobs are in more than one category. Even though there are 170 jobs that are in constituent services and community programs, 51 of these jobs are also in social services. 14 of them are in public safety. 13 are in health. So sometimes you can find the same jobs in multiple categories.
Oh, and I see you can either be full-time or part-time, because people were asking about that. Down under there, it shows you.
Right, so if
Yeah.
I click on part-time here, we'll see these are the 11 part-time jobs. And 4 of them are entry level. So, yeah. And I click on this to remove the part-time because we want to look at a full-time job. Does anyone remember there's 170 jobs here? Does anyone remember how I limited these just to entry-level jobs? A lot of these jobs you might need experience to apply for, but the entry-level jobs maybe not. Can someone help me? Where do I click to see just entry-level jobs?
Looks to me like over on the left, people see.
Yeah, under career level. And if I click on it, so there's 25 entry-level jobs here. I'm trying to remember what the job was that we were looking at.
Okay. All right, we'll see you.
Oh, I think, no. What was the job? Associate. There was an interesting job. It was a sidewalk inspector. That I assume inspects the safety of sidewalks. So all these inspection jobs are city jobs or civil service jobs. I've forgotten how to find it, Kate, but I think maybe to know, save it over here. think I've forgotten how to find it. Yeah, that's just the extra. Maybe it's an inspection job. I'm sorry, Kate, I've forgotten how to find it.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Case
Interesting. Oh, community associate, it might have been. There it is. Is that it?
This is the park ranger.
Go back and look under community associate.
I guess that's why it didn't have it had a different title, which was community associate. Ah, here, is this it?
Yeah, no.
No, this one.
Yes,
Yeah,
This
there
one,
it is.
yeah,
There it is.
there we go.
Okay, thank you.
So what does that tell us? To me, that tells us that, you know, you might find jobs that under a name that you wouldn't think it would be. And that they post these very much, they have these civil service categories. So associate seems to be a lower entry level type title. So, you know, you have to really spend some time looking at the website because there's a lot of jobs here. So yeah, the civil service title is a community associate. Sorry, both of those are. Now this is non-competitive. So I wonder how they decide who can have this job.
Right, that's a good question.
Right. The salary range looks like it's from 38,000 to 63,000. Okay, so this person, all right, so I'm going to look at the minimum requirements first because there's no point in really learning so much about the job until I know if I could do it. So here, I'd have to have a diploma and 3 years of experience in community work or education and experience equivalent to. So maybe if I had a college degree or an associate degree and less community experience, maybe that would be acceptable. One thing I see is that current city employees can apply for this. So they can just send their resume. So it looks like there's not a test. You send your resume and they evaluate it. And so what are the preferred skills? Oh, that's interesting. There's a residency requirement. You have to live in the city. You have to live in the city when you're appointed. But if you work for the city for 2 years, you might be able to live outside of the city.
I don't see any preferred skills.
No, I don't either. Yeah. So let's look at the job description and try to figure out what the skills might be. It says perform community outreach and walkthroughs in planned pedestrian ramp upgrade areas. So you've got to be able to judge whether a pedestrian ramp is safe, I guess. Here you have to respond to pedestrian ramp complaints. Okay, so that's a big thing. You have to deal with the public. You have to be able to deal well with the public. People are going to come complaining, and you have to be able to deal with them. And you're going to provide information about the pedestrian ramp upgrade program. So again, you'll have to be a good communicator. And you're going to have to liaison. You're going to have to coordinate with utility companies, private construction firms regarding scheduling and preventing construction bottlenecks. Right, so you have to really, be really good at dealing with people, and you have to be able to anticipate when it might cause a lot of congestion in the street. You have to answer phone calls, attend community board and town hall events. So, there's a lot involved. But you don't necessarily have had to go to college for this job. Okay, so Kelsang says, do we need to pay fees for the agency? So this one doesn't have a test, and usually the fee is for the test. So Kelsang, what type of agency did you mean?
Sometimes we need to pay they charge fees, so I get confused.
So Carlotta was talking about two kinds of fees. One fee is if you have a foreign degree and you have to pay an agency to get your foreign degree evaluated, right? That's one kind of fee. There's only one other kind of fee. The other kind of fee is the fee you pay for an exam. And if you are on food stamps or Medicaid or unemployed, at least for state jobs, I don't know if this is true for city jobs, but for state jobs, then you don't have to pay the exam fee if you can prove those things. Does that answer your question?
So they don't charge their service fee, right?
No, I don't think there's a service fee. There's just an exam fee.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's save the chat. Any other questions? Anyone who's interested, email us, and we're happy to do this again to spend some time with you looking at the website, because these websites can be very complicated to navigate. And we're lucky we have an insider to tell us, to answer our questions, because she really has been in civil service for a long time.
We didn't really talk about the exams for city jobs, but I think any of the jobs, from what Carlotta said, it seems like any of the jobs that say competitive, there's an exam.
Mhm.
So that's a whole other thing,
Right.
is scheduling those exams and
Right.
yeah, getting started.
Yeah, I do want to say this, that I know from someone else who has presented on civil service jobs at some of our other workshops. Some of the exams are pretty easy, the entry level exams. They're much easier, for instance, than the task for the GED. So that's just something to be aware of. That's for the real entry level jobs, but I think the way it usually works is that you start at the entry level and then you work your way up. And especially for the jobs that do require a college degree, remember what she said about how long it can take. So you could, apply and go through the process, and you don't have to have your degree until they send you an appointment letter. So anybody who wants to do that, you can email us and we will make time to go through the website again. You can email questions. And then these documents will be available on the Google Classroom anytime.